Our bodies are incredible machines, constantly active and requiring a steady supply of energy. This energy powers everything we do, from breathing to running a marathon. But where does this energy come from? The answer lies in the food we eat, particularly carbohydrates like glucose. Carbohydrates are like fuel for our cells. Think of them as logs for a bonfire. Just as the bonfire needs logs to burn and produce heat, our cells need glucose to generate energy. Glucose is a simple sugar, the most basic form of carbohydrate that our bodies can readily use. When we consume carbohydrates, our digestive system breaks them down into glucose. This glucose then enters our bloodstream, ready to be delivered to every cell in our body. Once inside the cells, glucose embarks on an amazing journey to unlock its stored energy. The first step in this energy-yielding adventure is called glycolysis. Imagine glycolysis as a cellular dance floor. Glucose enters this dance floor, ready to be twirled and spun. During this process, glucose, a 6-carbon sugar, is broken down into 2 molecules of pyruvate, a 3-carbon compound. This breakdown isn't just a random shuffle, though. It's a carefully choreographed process involving several steps and enzymes, the cellular catalysts that facilitate chemical reactions. Each step in glycolysis is crucial, ensuring the efficient extraction of energy from glucose. As glucose is broken down, electrons are released and picked up by special molecules called electron carriers. These carriers, like tiny delivery trucks, transport these electrons to later stages of energy production. The energy released during glycolysis isn't immediately available for use by the cell. It needs to be captured and stored in a usable form. This is where ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, comes in. Think of ATP as the cell's energy currency. Imagine ATP as a rechargeable battery. When the battery is fully charged, it has 3 phosphate groups attached. These phosphates are held together by high-energy bonds. When the cell needs energy, one of these phosphate bonds is broken, releasing energy and converting ATP to ADP, adenosine diphosphate. This energy released from ATP powers all cellular activities. From muscle contractions to nerve impulses, from building new molecules to transporting substances across cell membranes, ATP is the driving force behind it all. Now, what happens to the pyruvate molecules generated during glycolysis? Their fate depends on the presence or absence of oxygen. If oxygen is plentiful, as it usually is when we breathe normally, the pyruvate molecules embark on a journey to the cell's powerhouses, the mitochondria. Inside the mitochondria, pyruvate undergoes a series of chemical transformations, ultimately producing a large amount of ATP. This process, called aerobic respiration, is highly efficient and yields the maximum energy from glucose. However, there are times when oxygen is scarce, such as during intense exercise. In such situations, cells switch to an alternative pathway called anaerobic respiration, also known as fermentation. Fermentation doesn't require oxygen and allows glycolysis to continue, producing a small amount of ATP. Though less efficient than aerobic respiration, fermentation is crucial for survival in low-oxygen environments. It's an ancient pathway reflecting the early days of life on Earth when oxygen was less abundant.